Welcome to Fix It Friday. You're here with Devin today. So what we're going to be focusing on is something that a lot of our clients ask us about, and that's really annoying lower back pain. Now, most commonly, lower back pain is usually caused from having a sedentary job where you're sitting at your desk all day for 8 hours, not moving around, and everything tightens up right in those hips, and that's what we call an anterior pelvic tilt. And we go from the hips and they move back into that position, and you got a little bit of a booty sticking out like that. So what we want to make sure is that we're learning how to correctly loosen up the front and activate the back so it all goes away. So first up, for lower back pain, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the pelvic rotation. So commonly people have the anterior pelvic tilt, which is when your hips are really tight, pulling forward and pushing the lower back. So as you can see with Shannon, she's got a natural anterior pelvic tilt, and with this being accentuated, it can create increased lower back pain. So what we want to do is we want to see if we've got a little bit of motor control by moving the hips back and forward. So we're going to get Shannon to look in the mirror, moving her hips forward and backwards. As she pushes back, she'll notice that she's feeling a little bit more tightness in the lower back and potentially some pain. Whereas she comes forward, it releases that pain and makes it a little bit more comfortable, but it feels slightly unnatural because she's not used to being in that position. So the first movement we're going to do to help loosen up the front of the hips is get Shannon to go into a couch stretch. So she's going to get a bench that is of a pretty high height and get the toe up onto the back, get the knee down and come into a kind of a lunge position. This is going to really stretch out the hip flexors, which are in the front muscles there, and if they're too tight, they create the hips to come forward, making that anterior pelvic tilt. You're going to hold this for about 20 to 30 seconds, and then when you get to the end of the 20-30 seconds, you're going to squeeze your butt for 7. So squeeze, Shannon. As you can see, it's a little bit tender, but the idea of this is that when you squeeze the butt, it's teaching your body that when you squeeze your glutes, you stretch your hips into full extension. So movement number 2 that we're going to get you to do to relieve that lower back pain is a foam rolling movement for the piriformis. The piriformis is a little muscle inside your buttocks that is very hard to get to, so we've got to do a little bit of a funky stretch on top of the foam roller to get into it. So what you're going to do is get the foam roller onto your side, and you're going to get your leg into what's a kind of figure 4 shape and roll up and down until you find the tight spot. Once you find the tight spot, you'll know because you'll really feel it. You're going to sit on that for about 30 seconds to a minute until you feel that tension release, and then you switch through to the other side. Alright, so movement number 3 is the Pigeon Stretch. Pigeon Stretch is also really good for stretching out the piriformis. One of the big things with the Pigeon Stretch is that people often have their foot too far back. See how Shannon has got her knee and her toe in alignment? We want to be trying to get that. A lot of people will have their foot back like this, and you're not going to get much of a stretch. So you've got to make sure you're getting that foot up to bring it into the right position to really feel that stretch. And then you're going to switch over after 30 seconds. So bring that foot up into position. And if you're finding that the stretch isn't going too much, you can get deeper by going onto your elbows. And then also another option is leaning left to right. So if you move over the knee, you might feel a little bit more. As you can see with Shannon dropping her head, she feels a little bit more over her knee. If she leans the other way over her foot, she feels it even more again. So there's a couple of variations that you can do to move, getting that external, internal rotation through the hips. So you've got to find where the stretch gets for you, but you want to make sure that that foot's up nice and high. So if it means you have to sit back a little bit further, that's okay. It's about getting the stretch, not about looking cool in front of your friends. So the last movement we're going to do is the hip thrust. This is a really good movement to teach the glutes to activate while relaxing at the hips, while also stretching the hips throughout the movement. So what you're trying to do is squeeze the glutes as you come up into the air, letting those hips stretch out, and this is going to negate the effect of the anterior pelvic tilt. And so when you're standing, you're going to be learning to stand with your hips in a more neutral alignment. If you're finding that the glutes aren't activating while you're doing this movement, you can attempt by pushing the knees out and making sure that they're not coming in through the movement. And then when you go to the top, you can come and hold for about 5 seconds, squeeze as hard as you can, and it's a similar thing to the couch stretch that we did before. You'll feel a little bit more of a stretch in those hips, and then you go nice and slow on the way down. So those are the movements that you can do to help with a bit of lower back pain if you naturally fall into the anterior pelvic tilt and have a day-to-day work job where you're at the desk all day. If you want to learn a little bit more, you can contact us and get in touch with one of our personal trainers to sort everything out.